Welcome to the best sports betting podcast, where we'll talk about reviews, previews, tips and all things betting related. Brought to you by bestsportsbetting.co.za. Now, on to our hosts.
How's it, punters? Welcome back to the Best Sports Betting Podcast. We have an action-packed episode, lots to recap, lots to look forward to, and I'm joined as always by Simon. But before we jump into some of the sporting action, we quickly want to cover some sports betting news stories, and the big one on everyone's lips or on everyone's tongues is the Supabets story, or the lack of a Supabets site. Simon, have you been following the drama over on social media?
Yes, I have, Rob. I'm aware that there have been some trouble there, but it sounds like you've been following it a bit more closely than I have.
Yes, so initially what happened is Supabets went down about a week ago. They published a couple of posts on social media saying that they're down for maintenance, which is normal, which happens from time to time. You know, Betway do it, Hollywood Bets do it, everyone informs the customers. But they were down for I think it was 5 days. The site was down for 5 days. They ended up removing those posts saying that they were down for maintenance, which obviously upsets punters because, you know, there was Champions League taking place, there was Premier League taking place, there was a lot going on at the time, and they simply deleted it. And then they just every time someone asked them, they just said, no, we're down for maintenance, we're working on it, we're updating things, we're improving things. It was all bullshit, put it that way. And I think it was a day or two ago they managed to get their site up. But now the latest issue is that punters who are logging in, firstly, the punters can't log in. So if your username is Simon and your password is Simon123 and you log in with those details, you're not going to be able to log in. It's going to say wrong username, wrong password. So that's already an issue. Then the second issue is once you do a password reset and you can actually set a new password, any money you had in your account, your bet history, everything is gone.
Oh no,
yeah.
That is... You know, the first question I was going to ask you, Rob, is, you know, when these kind of things happen, I think the most important thing for a bookmaker to do is to, you know, ensure or reassure customers at least that they can get money out of their accounts. But from what it sounds like you're saying is that the customers are actually losing money, so whatever was in their account has actually disappeared, which is pretty much the worst possible situation they can be in.
Yes, exactly. It's you know, customer communication is key, and what they've been doing is they've literally been lying to the customers. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. They've been lying straight up to the customers, saying firstly the site's down for maintenance, and spinning all sorts of nonsense. And now what customers are having to do is they're having to prove to Supabets what their account balances were, what their bets were, before they can get them restored. Now tell me, Simon, if you had 50,000 Rand sitting in your betting account, do you have any proof of that 50,000 Rand other than the fact that you logged into your betting account? Maybe you've got some deposits that you can show that you made deposits there, or if you're lucky,
Yeah.
the bookie sends you confirmation of your bets over email, but not with Supabets.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the only real way you could prove it potentially would be, as you say, through a bank statement, and if you took a screenshot. But I mean, there's no reason that you would necessarily take a screenshot of your balance. So, yeah, you could end up in a very precarious situation in that case. So
yeah, I mean, Supabets have just handled this incredibly poorly. They still have not addressed the issue. They're spinning the same maintenance nonsense over on social media. I don't think they've updated their Twitter in about a week. They've been posting links to their Super TV show over on Facebook, and punters are just flooding it with comments. You know, where's my account? Where's my balance? I think this is just pathetic. I hope punters take them to the board. Seriously, this is something that needs to happen. And just due to the fact that their communication has been so poor. It's not difficult to post out a notification saying, hey, we've had some serious problems with our site. We are aware that punters cannot access their accounts. We are aware of the balance issues. We are working to resolve this. We are really sorry about this, guys. We know this is frustrating. At least then you're being truthful with the customers and you're saying what the problem is, so that punters don't get the surprise of logging into the account and seeing that there's no money, seeing that there's an issue, they can't find their pending bets, that sort of thing, because I've seen it on social media. It also then kind of relieves strain on the Supabet support structure, because I'm sure there's thousands of people. I actually think they turned their phone lines off. That was the last I heard. But, you know, it would prevent those thousands of people people are phoning in and complaining. So anyway, Supabets, you are the Moomish of the week. Sis on you. I really hope you guys can sort it out.
And just another reason why it's better to have multiple betting accounts, isn't it, Rob?
Yes, it is. And as you guys can see today, we're on player bets, and we're going to be having I'm going to be using them for our odds and whatnot for today's show. So Simon, let's go into some of the sports. I think we should start off with the Masters. We had some. I got really well. My lucky packet selection came in. I had I had 3 bets that I tipped. I believe one of them was I took your Simpson, I took Scott, and I took Matsuyama at 66-1, and he came in. Closely. It was a close finish there. He won by 1. But the Masters, I think, was a cracking Masters. Absolutely stunning as always. And Justin Rose on that first day with a huge lead. He was looking like, I don't want to say a foregone conclusion, but I was looking at the odds in play, and it was really, really short on him. I think it was something like 4-1 or 7-2 after the first round.
Yeah, sure. And that was very disappointing for me because I had him to finish in the top 6 at 25-1. So, finishing in the top 6 when you've got a 4-stroke lead is obviously a very good chance. So I was disappointed there. But yeah, I always feel a bit deflated after the Masters because it's kind of all the excitement builds up and then it kind of comes to an end and it's just a normal week again. But yeah, I couldn't be happier for you and Matsuyama, Rob. I mean, I've been wanting to see him win a major championship for a long time now, so it's really great to see him win. He hasn't actually won on the PGA Tour since 2017. So, despite being ranked in and around the top 20 for a long time now, he hasn't got a win in a long time. So I'm glad all the kind of stars finally aligned for him, and what a great win for Japan too.
Yes, big win for Japan. First, I think it's the 11th or the 12th, nationality to win the Masters. I've been watching quite a few of those Masters videos on YouTube, those recaps and those small little side stories. They've got some really well produced stuff, and you guys should definitely go check it out. It's really enjoyable to watch. But I was happy with that. I also took him. WSB had a happy hour special where they boosted the top 6 place or top 6 finish to top 8. And I managed to get him at, I think it was like 10-1 or something like that as well. So I was quite happy with that. I took 3 bets for that one. And that's why it's really important to get involved when those specials come around, Simon.
Sure.
They just really are great value, especially when it comes to positions in golf.
Sure, exactly. And in a tournament like the Masters where there's less players, each place is more important. Yeah, I mean, going back to my tips, I mean, I picked Thomas as an overall winner. He was doing really well in the first 2 rounds, but then he kind of just fell to the wayside. It's frustrating because I had all my players were under par after the first 2 rounds, and there were only 15 players in total that were actually under par. So it's always frustrating when you've clearly found some value, but the results just don't kind of turn into profit. But that's just the way it goes sometimes.
I'm happy to admit I got lucky. There was nothing behind my Matsuyama pick. If anyone's wondering, he is a golfer that I do like to bet on in tournaments, or at least in the past. So it was just a complete lucky pick.
I suppose I had kind of the equivalent of losing by half a point in a rugby handicap because, Rose finished in 7th. So you literally missed the 6th place that I needed to win a couple thousand.
You needed that WSB happy hour special.
That's it. Yeah, I did. Unfortunately, the odds was slightly shorter than Betix, so that's
also something to consider. But next time.
Next time, yeah.
Right, let's jump into some Premier League. I'm going to skip over most of them. I think the big shock of the weekend was Leeds taking down City 2-1 in Manchester. Big win for Leeds there. Big loss for City, although, I mean, they still kind of are champions elect. They only need 1 or 2 games to win. I still think they're quite comfortably going to win the league.
Yeah, I mean, that was a big bet slip buster, I think, for a lot of punters, I'm sure, this weekend. So, condolences to those players.
Yeah.
But, I mean, this is the second time City have lost at home in their last 5 matches. Look, granted, the 5 weeks ago it was against United, which are obviously a stronger side, but it does kind of show there are some chinks in the armor of even the greatest teams. I think another result which surprised me a little bit, not to the same extent, of course, was United beating Spurs quite comfortably 3-1. I actually saw a bit of value in Spurs there.
Yeah,
it's like the bookies had that one right. And then more importantly, Rob, our Newcastle boys got
they picked up a big winner.
2-1 win over Burnley, yeah, and they're now actually 6 points above the relegation zone, so edging closer to that golden number of 40 points, which should hopefully save them from the drop.
I think we might be safe this year. I think we might just going on how some of the other teams are playing, but I'll reserve my judgment until a little later on. Sure. When it really gets down to crunch time. Just going back to the Spurs game, I said I didn't want to bet on Spurs. I just didn't trust them enough. I wasn't really sure on what to pick there. And I think that gut feeling did come through. United picking up a very, very solid win. Another one I'd like to talk about is what I fancied for a draw was the West Ham-Leicester game. I fancied that was going to be a 0-0 draw. And how wrong was I? I mean, 5 goals, 3-2,
yeah.
West Ham beating Leicester. West Ham just looking really good at the moment. I think they're going to get that Champions League spot.
Oh, that'll be incredible! What a great result that would be.
Yeah, would be a massive win or a massive result for West Ham and their fans. And then let's talk about some of the Champions League, which is what we'll also tie in a bit later to the show. We had Bayern going down at home to PSG 3-2. PSG winning that one. Big result for PSG. Cracking game.
Absolutely, we were on the wrong side of that one. We kind of thought Bayern were justifiably the odds-on favourites there. But, I mean, Kylian Mbappe was really impressive in that game. I mean, he seemed to be everywhere on the field all at once, all the time. It was just incredible. He was just all over it. The other match, Chelsea-Porto, we were right on the unders there. It did end up going under 2.5. But, the Portuguese weren't able to salvage a draw, which I thought they might. For sort of D&B or +1 handicap backers there, it was a bit disappointing.
Yeah, and then we had City picking up a 2-1 win over Dortmund. City looking a little bit vulnerable. I think there might be some value going against them for a couple of games. They are playing again this week. And then we had another English team going down 3-1. Liverpool losing to Real Madrid. I don't really see a way out of this one for Liverpool, but we'll get into that. Actually, let's get into that right now. We might as well jump straight into the kind of Europa Champions League preview. And I think I'll start off with the Chelsea game, Chelsea-Porto. I think that one's pretty much foregone conclusion. I'm not expecting too much from this game. I don't think Porto are going to have the legs to challenge Chelsea. I think that one's done. Maybe another unders bet is the call there. I don't think Chelsea are going to be too aggressive in this one.
Yeah, I think with these second leg games, it's kind of about, I think, balancing kind of your expectations of what each team is actually capable of doing, and then what they need to do in order to qualify. And I think it's quite easy to get a bit caught up in what they need to do, because often it just doesn't pan out that way. So if I can give a tip to anyone betting on these second legs, it would be just, don't overthink it too much. I think, I'm tempted to get with Porto here because Chelsea obviously can afford a draw or even lose the match by a goal. But, will that really happen is the question.
You don't want to do that as
right.
the team that's going into, you've done the hard work. You want to kind of just...
Exactly.
I get that, completely get that line of thinking, but I just think they've done the hard work, and I think the draw would probably be the kind of they wouldn't be happy with that, but they would take that. But I don't think they want to take a 1-0 loss, because that gives a chance of a late goal. It gives extra time, all of that stuff, which is not it's something which then becomes more of a 50-50 unless the game's going completely Chelsea's way.
Yeah, but I think more important or more interesting at least from a betting perspective is this Bayern game, or the Bayern PSG game. I mean, Bayern are 12-10 to turn this tie around, and sure, I mean, based on what we saw from PSG last week, I think that is quite a short price.
Yeah, Bayern are favourites.
Yeah, I mean, look, don't get me wrong. I would not be surprised in the least if Bayern did what they needed to do in order to qualify. But to me, 12-10 is quite crazy. I mean, I think there might even be a bit of value in backing PSG draw no bet at 11-10, or even a draw at 3-1. I just think that, sure, they're banking, the bookies are banking on the fact that Bayern kind of do, they come out of these situations. And I just think that the way that PSG looked last week, I think that Bayern might be a little bit overvalued. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they are way overvalued. Although, the thing is, it is difficult because they have those 3 away goals, but then again, Bayern, they did score 2 at home, so 2-0 win here for Bayern would see them through. Yeah, I think how do they approach this game? It's very difficult, especially with that scoreline. It is very, very difficult.
It is, and they're playing away. I mean, I understand that it's limited crowds and so on, no crowds at all, but still they are still playing in Paris, so it's not a neutral ground. So I just think that is a very short price for Bayern there. I would certainly be backing PSG draw no bet or draw itself, which I think looks quite a juicy price. It's 3-1, which is quite nice odds for any football draw. So yeah, I think that the bookmakers are getting giving a little too much credit to Bayern here.
And then and I agree with you completely there. And then we have Dortmund taking on City. City coming into the game with a 2-1 lead. Dortmund with that one away goal. Could be an upset here, especially with how City are playing. I mean, all Dortmund need is a 1-0 win and they go through.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is quite a tough one to call, actually.
City are heavy favourites. I mean, 15-20. Unders. The unders are. It looks like again it's going unders because the unders are like 6-10, 3-5. So it's very, very low. So the bookmakers aren't expecting too many goals. So I might have a stab here on a 1-0 Dortmund. Maybe even a 0-0 correct scoreline. Watch how this will go wrong. It'll be like a 6-goal thriller or something like that. But I do fancy a low scoring one there. But and I don't fancy that there's going to be more than 2 goals. To be honest. But I don't want to take under 2.5 though, because there's no value. So I'm going to have to go with find some correct scores out here and see if there's anything that's decent. Maybe under 1.5, which I think is looking much better. But yeah, it's kind of a crazy one there with that one. And then of course there's Liverpool versus Real Madrid. What are your thoughts there, Simon?
Yeah, I don't know. I think this one, sure. I mean, obviously now it's the reverse leg. Liverpool got the home advantage. I mean, I think those odds look about right to me. This is probably the least attractive one from a betting perspective of the 4, in my opinion. I don't know. What are your thoughts, Rob?
Yeah, it's a difficult one to call. I mean, Liverpool are going to have to go all out. I looked at this one earlier and I thought, maybe Liverpool over 1.5 goals might be the pick to take. But at the moment, do I trust Liverpool enough to do that? I'm not sure. But I think there should be goals in this one. Sorry, and the bookmakers are leaning with unders the last time I checked, whereas I actually feel they're actually leaning with overs. They're actually leaning with overs here. Sorry, I had that the wrong way around. So the overs I think is going to be quite a good pick. Maybe Liverpool to win and over 2.5 goals. I think that might be a pick, or just Liverpool to score more than 1.5 goals, basically. So Liverpool to score 2 goals or more. Yeah,
no, I quite like that.
We'll have to see what those odds are because they aren't quite out at the moment. I just quickly want to jump back to that Dortmund game because I was over on Playbet and the odds did seem a little weird. And yes, okay, so they are actually expecting overs. So I'm going to go back to going back to that Dortmund match. I'm going to go with unders there. I'm going to go with under 2.5 because you're getting odds of 2.4 over at Sportingbet.
Nice. Yeah, no, that makes sense to me. I just looking at this Liverpool and Real Madrid match again. I mean, I think, I don't think there's necessarily a lot of value in backing Real Madrid here, but I would prefer Liverpool to be over even money in this situation if you're looking to back them.
Yeah.
So it's a tricky one to bet, I think.
Yeah, I can't bet on a team here. I'm going to have to bet on sides. Liverpool I think should pick up the win, but I'm more interested in the goals and like what permutations there are and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I'm going to be kind of staying away from that one in that sense. But I might have a little Little sprinkle on those team goals if I can get decent odds on that. Let's jump over to some Premier League. We have Everton versus Spurs. Everton lost in the last game. This was a game taking place on Friday, by the way. And Everton, the last game was a normal draw. Taking on Spurs, blowing hot and cold again. Your thoughts on that game? Are you fancying Spurs? I fancy a draw, to be honest. It just got a draw written all over it to me.
Yeah, I mean the natural inclination here would be, after Spurs getting beaten last week against United would be to back them. But yeah, I think 13-10, it looks about right. Everton haven't won their last 5 matches. I haven't got in fact, I think they've got only 2 points in the last 5 matches. So yeah, I think Spurs have got this. I just don't know if that price is big enough. But yeah, and then elsewhere, there's really not too much on the card. I'll definitely be rooting for Newcastle to.
I'll be betting on West Ham in that game. I'm telling you that much. West Ham at even money's away to Newcastle. I'm sorry, I have to take that price.
Yeah, it's I think it looks about right. But I suppose, it's just under even money away. It looks about the right price. But yeah, hopefully Newcastle can get at least a point out of it. We'll see.
I think I'm going to call that one my banker of the week is West Ham to beat Newcastle. Just in West Ham's current form, and Newcastle just not playing badly, but I think West Ham are going to be a little too strong for the tune. We have Arsenal, Fulham, not really interested. United, Burnley, both of those should be foregone conclusions. I feel you could make a kind of nice little favourites accumulated this weekend and be fairly comfortable and confident in some of those picks. But let's move on to some cricket now. South Africa, Pakistan. We picked up a win, I think it was yesterday in the cricket. Why don't you refresh our memories? What's been happening? What your fancies are there?
Yeah, it's actually been a better T20 series than I expected between South Africa and Pakistan. There's been some pretty good cricket from both sides. Yeah, we lost the first match by 4 wickets. That was on Saturday. But then we crushed Pakistan yesterday by 6 wickets and limited them to only 140 runs. So that was pretty good. So the series is now tied 1 apiece. And then tomorrow's match, which will be the third T20, is at SuperSport Park. And South Africa are priced at 5-4. Which I thought maybe it was a little bit generous. But if you think about the fact that they're missing so many players that have now gone over to the IPL, like Rabada and de Kock and Miller and a few others, that looks about right to me. So I wouldn't expect a comfortable win again. T20 is obviously always a bit of a coin flip, but I wouldn't expect South Africa to be as comfortable tomorrow as they were yesterday. So yeah, I think those odds look about right. I don't really have an opinion on it. So I think Pakistan are justifiable favourites.
Yeah, I can't bet on South Africa at the moment. Over the last couple of months, and even I want to say years, they're just not playing well enough, just not consistent enough. And you now have sides like Pakistan, handing them regular beatings. So it's
yeah. Sure.
Even I'd love to go down and watch the match, but I don't think I'd get involved in any sort of betting. Maybe some in-play betting. That's always a fancy if you've got the game on. But yeah, no picks from me. So and then let's jump over to the Formula One Grand Prix that's taking place. Yes. I am still kind of in the dark. I'm not gonna pretend like I just know Hamilton won last time out. Yeah. I was having a chat with a guy about it over the weekend. He was lots of complaints coming through from him. So I'll hand the section over to you, and we'll let you have your thoughts.
Yeah, well, it's the season got off to a cracking start last week. I thought that was a brilliant race 2 weeks ago in Bahrain. Verstappen was the favourite in that one, and Hamilton obviously did edge him, and I think that all really came down to slightly better race management from Mercedes. And it's interesting if you look at the odds now, though, because the bookies are expecting Verstappen to beat Hamilton again in qualifying. So he's the 17, he's odds of 17-20 to win. But if you look at the match odds, or the race odds at least on Sunday, they're actually dead even at 5-4 apiece. So I think that's kind of testament to the fact that Hamilton can come from behind and win a race, even if he doesn't qualify in pole position, which I think is absolutely fair enough. So yeah, looking at this race ahead, this is actually when at this race last year is when Mercedes clinched the Constructors' Championship. So it's been a good hunting ground for Mercedes. As I said, Verstappen and Hamilton both priced at 5-4 to win the race. Verstappen slight favourites for qualifying. But in terms of betting for this one, I still really fancy Daniel Ricciardo. And I know I backed him last week and he didn't get the pole position. But he actually got pole. He ended up, not pole position, sorry, podium. He got a podium last year at this venue. And I like him to get a podium again at 4-1. So yeah, that would be. I think he's in a much better car in the McLaren this year, and he was driving a Renault last time, so I fancy his chances.
Yeah, just looking at some of the odds here, and I must say it very much looks like a horse race kind of setup with two favourites and two big favourites in Verstappen and Hamilton, and then you've got Bottas at 8-1, and then pick who you like after that really. It just doesn't inspire me for any sort of betting, to be honest. I mean, places, unfortunately the podium's just not big enough for me to get the podium. Maybe paid an extra place or two.
Well, this is the thing, basically when you, unfortunately, when you are backing for a podium in a situation when you have such a strong pairing in Hamilton and Bottas, basically whenever you're betting on a podium, you're banking on one of the drivers in Red Bull and one of the drivers in Mercedes not getting a podium. You know what I mean? So one of them has to basically flop for you to get in that top three. So, if you have Verstappen and Hamilton, you're banking on Bottas then to not get the third position if you want to back the podium. So it always comes with quite a risk. But of course, in Formula One, there's one small mistake, a long pit stop or a crash or anything like that can obviously change
everything up
very quickly. So but again, obviously always. I mean, I want to look for value. I think that the bookmakers have Hamilton and Verstappen priced correctly at 5-4, but I just see a bit of value there in Ricciardo to get a podium in a much better car than he was in last year. So, but it's gonna be an interesting race. Hopefully, it can live up to last or the race 2 weeks ago at least in Bahrain.
Hopefully, I can catch this one and give it some more attention than I usually do to Formula One. But guys, thanks for tuning into this episode. After this, Simon and I are going to have a chat about deal or no deal. It's podcast special, so look out for that one. We did it last week with the Masters. We're going to be doing it again this week with that game. And thanks for tuning in, guys, and we'll catch you in the next episode. Have a good one. Cheers.
Thank you for listening, and don't forget to visit our site, Facebook and Twitter pages. Let's go make some money.